Hello, I'm Mike.
Hello, I'm Lily. Welcome to English Podcast Flow.
Today we're tackling something super important for anyone learning English, everyday dialogues.
Oh yeah, those little conversations we have all the time.
Right, like grabbing a coffee or making
Oh.
plans, or even just figuring out where you are in a new city.
They really are like the building blocks of communication, aren't they?
Yeah, and getting comfortable with them can make you so much more confident speaking English.
Absolutely. It's like having a toolbox full of useful phrases. When you run into a situation, you can just pull out the right tool and, communicate clearly.
Exactly. So today we've put together a whole bunch of dialogues, like over 30, covering all sorts of everyday situations.
We'll break down the vocabulary and phrases and even give you a chance to practice them out loud. So get ready to boost those conversational skills and sound more natural in your everyday English.
Let's jump right in with our first scenario, asking for directions. Imagine you're in a new city and you need to find, let's say, a museum. You see someone who looks friendly and you say, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the National Museum?"
Sure, no problem. Walk straight ahead for 2 blocks, then turn right at the traffic lights. The museum will be on your left next to the big post office.
Perfect. Now let's look at some of the key phrases there. Excuse me. That's always a polite way to get someone's attention. And when you're asking for directions, we use phrases like, "How do I get to?" or "Could you tell me how to get to?" Walk straight ahead. Pretty self-explanatory. Keep walking in the same direction.
Then we had 2 blocks, which is a measure of distance in a city. A block is the section of street between 2 intersections.
Right. And turn right, of course, means change your direction to the right. And traffic lights are those signals that tell you when to stop and go. On your left tells us the position of the museum, and next to the big post office gives us a landmark to help us find it.
That's a really good point about landmarks. They make directions so much easier to follow.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, let's imagine you're in a city and you need to find the nearest supermarket. How would you ask?
Yeah, take a moment, think about it, and try to say the question out loud using the phrases we just learned. Even if you're alone, practicing speaking will help you build confidence and improve your pronunciation.
Okay, let's try a different situation now. Imagine you're at a restaurant and the waiter comes to take your order.
Good evening. Are you ready to order?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I'd like the grilled chicken salad.
Excellent choice. And for you, sir?
I'll have the spaghetti bolognese, please.
All right. 1 grilled chicken salad and 1 spaghetti bolognese. Would you like anything to drink?
Yes, I'll have a glass of water, please.
And for you, sir?
I'll have a lemonade, please.
Perfect. I'll bring those right out.
Okay, let's break this down. Are you ready to order? Is the typical way a waiter will check if you're ready. When ordering, we use "I'd like" plus the name of the dish.
And if you're not sure what something is on the menu, don't be shy. Ask the waiter.
Right, like, "Excuse me, what exactly is in the chef's special?"
Exactly. Anything to drink is how the waiter asks about beverages, and "I'll bring those right out" means they'll be back with your food and drink soon.
Now, listeners, pretend you're at your favorite restaurant. What would you order? What would you like to drink?
Say it out loud. Practice those phrases we just talked about.
All right, next up, buying groceries at the supermarket. You've got your shopping list, but you can't find something. What do you do?
Well, you ask for help, of course.
Exactly. Excuse me, I'm looking for olive oil. Could you tell me where I can find it?
Of course. Olive oil is in aisle 4 with the other cooking oils and vinegars.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So here we see, excuse me, again, always a polite way to start. And "I'm looking for" is how we tell them what we need.
And "could you tell me where I can find it" is a polite way to ask for directions inside the supermarket.
Right. The answer, aisle 4, tells us the specific aisle, and with the other cooking oils and vinegars, gives us more context to help us find it.
Supermarkets are actually a great place to practice your English,
You can ask about prices or discounts or even how to cook something.
Exactly. So listeners, what 3 items are you looking for at the supermarket?
Go ahead, say them out loud, and then practice asking an employee where they are. Okay, let's move on to the cinema.
The cinema, love it. There's nothing like watching a movie on the big screen.
But first, we need tickets.
2 tickets for the 7 p.m. showing of The Adventure Begins, please.
Okay, that will be $20, please.
Here you go.
Thank you. Enjoy the movie.
Thanks, we will.
All right, when buying tickets, we need to say the movie title and the showing time. So 7 p.m. showing. means the movie starts at 7 p.m.
And $20 is the price of the tickets, of course. And enjoy the movie is a nice way to wish someone well.
Don't forget about snacks and drinks.
Oh, yeah. Popcorn and soda are essential for a good movie experience.
Yeah.
Now, listeners, imagine you're at the cinema, ready to buy tickets for your favorite movie. What would you say to the ticket seller?
Practice ordering your tickets and maybe even some popcorn and a drink. Okay, next up, making appointments. We make appointments for all sorts of things. Doctor's visits, haircuts, meetings, you name it.
It's all about scheduling a specific time to meet someone or get something done.
Right, so let's say you're calling to make a haircut appointment. Hello, I'd like to schedule an appointment for a haircut, please.
Certainly. What day and time would you like?
I'm available tomorrow afternoon, anytime after 2 p.m.
Okay, we have an opening at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Would that work for you?
Yes, that's perfect. Please book it for me.
All right, you're all set. See you tomorrow at 2:30.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we start with, I'd like to schedule an appointment to explain what we want.
Then, what day and time would you like? Is how they ask about our availability.
We can respond with, I'm available, or I'm free, plus the specific day and time.
Right. And we have an opening, means there's a time slot available, and please book it for me confirms that you want to reserve that time.
And of course, always be polite and clear, especially if you need to reschedule or cancel. Give them as much notice as possible.
Now, listeners, imagine you need to schedule a doctor's appointment. What would you say?
Think about the day and time that works for you and practice making that phone call.
Okay, let's change gears and head to a clothing store. You find a shirt you love, but it's not in your size.
What do you do?
Ask for help. Excuse me, do you have this shirt in a size medium?
Let me check. Ah, yes, we do. Here it is.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Would you like to try it on?
Yes, please. Where are the fitting rooms?
The fitting rooms are right over there.
Perfect, thank you.
So, do you have this shirt in a size? Is how we ask for a different size.
Let me check. Means the shop assistant will go and look for it.
Right. And would you like to try it on? Is how they offer the fitting room. And the fitting rooms are right over there. Gives directions.
Don't be shy about asking for different sizes or styles until you find the perfect one.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, imagine you're at a clothing store looking for a pair of jeans. What would you say?
How would you ask for your size and say you want to try them on? Practice the conversation out loud. Okay, let's talk about traveling by bus or train. Public transport is a great way to get around.
But it's important to know how to ask for information. So picture this. You're at a bus stop. Excuse me. What time does the next bus to the city center leave?
The next bus leaves in 10 minutes from platform 5.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we asked, what time does the next bus dot leave to find out the departure time?
To the city center tells us the destination.
And the answer in 10 minutes tells us how long we have to wait, and platform 5 is where we need to go to catch the bus.
Remember, you can also ask about ticket prices, bus routes, and how long the journey will take.
Right. So listeners, imagine you're at a train station and you need to get somewhere. What would you ask?
Practice asking about the next train, the platform, and anything else you might need to know.
We're going to dive into some even more specific scenarios that you might encounter in your daily life.
From making phone calls to giving compliments, we've got you covered. So get ready to expand your conversational skills and boost your confidence even more.
That's right. We want you to feel prepared for any situation, whether it's a casual chat with a friend or a more formal conversation in a professional setting.
And remember, practice makes perfect. So let's jump right in with our first scenario for this part, making a phone call.
Okay, imagine this. You need to call a friend to make plans for the weekend.
You dial their number and they pick up.
What happens next?
Hello.
Hi, is this Sarah?
Speaking.
Hi, Sarah. It's Mike. How are you?
Hi, Mike. I'm doing well, thanks. How about you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Listen, I was wondering if you're free this weekend. I was thinking of going to the park on Saturday, maybe having a picnic or something. Would you be interested?
That sounds lovely. Yes, I'm free on Saturday. What time were you thinking?
How about we meet at the park around noon? We can bring some sandwiches, drinks, and maybe a Frisbee to play with.
Perfect. I'll bring some cookies for dessert.
Great. Looking forward to it, Sarah. See you on Saturday.
See you then, Mike.
So let's take a closer look at some of the key phrases here. Is this Sarah? Is how we make sure we're talking to the right person.
And when we answer the phone, we just say, speaking, to let the caller know it's us.
Right. And we often use phrases like, how are you? Or how's it going? To start the conversation in a friendly way.
Exactly. And when we're suggesting plans, we can use phrases like, I was thinking of, or would you be interested in?
It's also really important to be clear about the time and location so there's no confusion.
Definitely. Phone calls can be a bit tricky sometimes, especially if you're not used to speaking English on the phone.
But don't worry, just try to speak slowly and clearly, and if you need to ask the person to repeat themselves.
Exactly. Now, listeners, imagine you need to call a local store to ask about their opening hours. How would you do that?
Think about the phrases we just practiced and try saying the phone conversation out loud. It's a great way to practice your speaking skills.
All right, let's move on to our next scenario. Let's say you're at a party and you start talking to someone new.
You're chatting about your hobbies and interests, and you want to share your opinion about something.
What would you say?
So, what do you think about the new Marvel movie?
Oh, I loved it. The action scenes were incredible and the special effects are amazing. What about you?
I enjoyed it too, although I thought the plot was a bit predictable. But overall, it was a fun movie.
I agree, it wasn't perfect, but I still had a good time.
Me too.
Yeah.
What other kinds of movies do you like?
I'm a big fan of science fiction and fantasy movies. I love those imaginative worlds and stories. How about you?
I'm more into comedies and romantic movies. I like films that make me laugh and feel good.
That's cool. It's interesting that we have different tastes.
Yeah, it keeps things exciting, right?
Exactly. Now let's break down this dialogue a little. When we ask for someone's opinion, we can use phrases like, "What do you think about?" or "What's your opinion on?"
And when we're sharing our own opinion, we can say, I think, I believe, or in my opinion.
And if we agree or disagree with someone, we can use phrases like, "I agree," "I disagree," or "I see your point, but..."
Right. It's okay to have different opinions as long as we're respectful of each other's views.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, imagine you're having a conversation with a friend about a recent news event. How would you express your opinion on that topic?
Think about the phrases we just discussed and try saying your thoughts out loud. Okay, let's shift gears now to a more formal setting. Imagine you're giving a presentation at work or school.
You're standing in front of an audience, ready to share your ideas.
How would you start? Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. I'm here to talk to you about the importance of teamwork in the workplace.
In today's presentation, I'll be discussing the benefits of teamwork, such as increased productivity, improved communication, and enhanced creativity. I'll also share some tips on how to build a strong and effective team.
I hope this information will be valuable to you and that it will inspire you to create a more collaborative work environment. Let's start by looking at some studies that demonstrate the positive impact of teamwork on organizational success.
So in this introduction, we started with a polite greeting and thanked the audience for being there.
We then clearly stated the topic of the presentation and gave a brief overview of the key points that we would be covering.
And finally, we expressed our hope that the presentation would be informative and beneficial for the audience.
Giving presentations can be nerve-wracking, but with practice and preparation, you can do it.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, imagine you're giving a presentation on a topic that you're passionate about. How would you introduce yourself and your topic to the audience?
Think about the structure and phrases we just discussed, and practice your presentation introduction out loud.
Okay, let's move on to something a bit more personal and heartwarming, giving and receiving compliments.
Compliments are a great way to make someone's day, express appreciation, and build stronger relationships.
Right, and it's not just about the words we use, it's also about our tone of voice and body language. So let's look at a few examples. Wow, you look fantastic today. That color really suits you.
Thank you. I just got this dress, and I wasn't sure about it, but I'm glad you like it.
You're very welcome. You have great taste. And by the way, I really enjoyed your presentation yesterday. It was very informative and well presented.
Oh, thank you so much. I put a lot of work into it, so I'm happy you liked it.
So in these examples, we used phrases like, "You look fantastic," "That color really suits you," and "I really enjoyed your presentation," to give compliments.
And when receiving compliments, we said things like, thank you, and I'm glad you like it, to show our appreciation.
Exactly. It's important to be gracious and acknowledge compliments when we receive them.
Now, listeners, imagine you want to compliment a friend on their new haircut. What would you say? And how would you respond if someone complimented you on your cooking?
Try practicing those phrases out loud.
All right, for our last scenario in this part, let's imagine you're at a social gathering and you need to excuse yourself from a conversation politely.
Maybe you need to use the restroom or you want to get another drink.
How would you do that without being rude? It's been lovely chatting with you, but please excuse me for a moment. I need to use the restroom.
Of course, no problem at all. I'll be right here when you get back.
Thanks. I'll catch up with you in a bit.
So in this dialogue, we use the phrase, "It's been lovely chatting with you," to acknowledge the person we're talking to.
Please excuse me for a moment is a polite way to say that we need to step away for a bit.
And "I'll catch up with you in a bit" reassures the person that will come back to the conversation later.
Right. It's all about being polite and respectful when we need to excuse ourselves.
Now, listeners, imagine you're at a party and you need to politely excuse yourself from a conversation. How would you do it?
Think about the phrases we just practiced and try acting out the scenario out loud.
Great job, everyone. We've covered a lot of ground in this second part, from making phone calls and expressing opinions to giving presentations and even mastering the art of the compliment.
Don't forget, practice makes perfect. So keep practicing these scenarios out loud and try using these phrases in your everyday conversations.
And remember, even small improvements can make a big difference in your confidence and fluency. In the final part of this episode, we'll wrap things up and share some tips on how to keep improving your conversational English. We've covered so much already, from asking directions to giving presentations to even giving compliments.
But like any journey, learning English doesn't just stop here, right?
Right. It's all about making English a part of your daily life and finding ways to keep learning and practicing.
Absolutely. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use your English skills, the stronger they get.
Exactly. So in this last part, we want to give you some practical tips and resources that can help you keep improving your conversational English.
One of the best things you can do is immerse yourself in the English language as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. Surround yourself with English. Watch movies and TV shows, listen to music and podcasts, read books and articles.
And don't be afraid to start with materials that are made for learners. There are so many great resources out there that use simpler language and explain things clearly.
Right. And as you get better, you can challenge yourself with more difficult and authentic materials.
Another great way to practice is to find opportunities to talk with native English speakers.
If you have friends or colleagues who speak English, try to start conversations with them.
You can also join online language exchange groups or find a tutor for one-on-one sessions.
And remember, everyone makes mistakes when they're learning a language. Don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from speaking.
See those mistakes as chances to learn and just keep practicing. That's how you'll get better.
Absolutely. And don't forget about active listening. When you're in a conversation, really try to focus on what the other person is saying.
Pay attention to how they pronounce words, their tone of voice, and their body language.
It can help you understand them better, and it'll also help you improve your own communication skills.
And remember the power of repetition. Repetition really helps you learn new words and grammar.
So go back and practice those dialogues and phrases that we've learned over and over again until they feel natural.
There are also tons of online resources that are really helpful for English language learners.
Websites like the British Council and BBC Learning English have so many interactive exercises, videos, and podcasts that can help you in different areas.
And of course, don't forget about our podcast, English Podcast Flow. We release new episodes every week on all sorts of topics to help you improve your English.
We always try to make our episodes engaging and fun so you can enjoy learning.
We encourage you to participate by leaving comments, sharing your thoughts, and asking us questions.
We love hearing from our listeners.
So that's it for our deep dive into everyday dialogues.
We really hope you found this episode useful and that you feel more confident about having everyday conversations in English.
Remember, practice is key, and the more you use your English, the better you'll get.
So go out there and talk in English whenever you can, with friends, colleagues, or even strangers. Don't be scared to make mistakes. Just keep practicing.
And most importantly, have fun with it. Learning a language should be an enjoyable experience.
Thanks so much for joining us on English Podcast Flow.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, happy learning. Practicing happy learning and keep flowing.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners like you. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new episode, and by liking the video, you're letting us know you want more helpful content. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us.